This will be one of the best summers in Canadian history to start a side hustle. And I mean it very literally and not in a motivational speaker kind of way. So if you've not been aware, if you've not been paying attention to the news, Canada is hosting the FIFA World Cup from June 11 to July 19. And with millions of international visitors flooding into Toronto and Vancouver, the tourism sector alone is projected to pump nearly $183 billion into the Canadian economy. That money has to go somewhere, and some of it can come to you if you're ready to catch it. Well, today I'm walking you through 5 side hustles built exactly for this moment. We'll go from the easiest one all the way to the World Cup specific opportunity that most people haven't even thought about yet. I'll tell you what each one pays, what you need to do to get going, and how to land your first dollar. So let's get into it. We're starting with delivery and gig apps because they have the lowest barrier of entry out of all 5. If you have a car and a smartphone, you could be making money as soon as tonight, not next week, tonight. It's easy to create an account on DoorDash, Skip the Dishes, Instacart, or Uber Eats. You don't need a resume, you don't need an extensive interview. All you need to do is just sign up, pass a background check, and you're in. Easy peasy. You can make anywhere from $500 to $2,500 a month, depending on how many hours you put in and which city you're working in. Very important. It all comes down to timing and location. So think about dinner rush on weeknights. Think about weekends, afternoons on weekends mostly, evenings too on weekends as well. Think about match days during the World Cup. Those are your peak operating windows. Those are the times where people mostly order food. And if you're in big cities like Toronto and Vancouver, delivery demand is going to be wild this summer. Trust me, the demand for gig services through the roof. Fans watching the games, people going to fan zones, people hosting watch parties, they're ordering food. Someone has to eat, they're ordering food or groceries. Then if you log in during a match day, it's easily one of the best ways to stack extra earnings right now. But there's one small thing to consider, and I don't want you to miss it, right? Just think about this for a minute. If you drive for a rideshare app like Uber or Lyft, not just the delivery, the rideshare as well, you are legally required to register for a GST HST number with the CRA before your very first trip. The $30,000 threshold that applies to other hustles doesn't really apply here. Now, the challenge I have for you is if you're feeling motivated already, if you're feeling fired up, download DoorDash or Instacart right now, sign up, get verified, block off Friday evening this week for your first run, or you can block up the entire weekend for this. Now, the first hustle I talked about traded your time and your car for money. This one trades your existing skills, and I'm talking about freelancing. Businesses are constantly outsourcing work that covers content creation, graphic design, video editing, and social media management. And here's what makes this especially powerful as a person living in Canada. You can take on clients here and internationally, which means you are not limited to the local job market. So you can earn anywhere from $25 to $150 per hour, depending on the projects and depending on your skill level. This is exactly why you want to start now, rather than waiting until you feel ready, because there's literally no best time to start. Start now, gain the experience, and build on that experience. And now that the World Cup is here, brands, tourism companies, local businesses, restaurants, they're all looking for bilingual content. They're looking for social media coverage. They're looking for city guides. They're looking for on-the-ground storytelling. So if you speak French, if you speak Spanish, if you speak Portuguese, or any of the most represented fan languages at this tournament, your value as a freelancer this summer just went significantly up. So sign up on platforms like Upwork, Fiverr, Freelancer.com, and you can get yourself some gig work to put extra dollars into your pocket this summer. Now, this is the challenge I have for you. Write down one skill you've actually used at your job. It could be a skill like writing emails or proofreading messages or editing photos and videos. That right there is your service. Open a free Upwork profile this weekend. Describe that one skill that people pay for and set a beginner rate just to get your first review. On those freelance websites, reviews are like currency. So you want to make sure you get good reviews because that will then lead to more offers coming through the door for you. Now, this next one requires a little bit more hustle to do it, but the startup cost is still way low and the potential return is surprisingly higher than what most people would expect once you know what you're doing at least. And I'm talking about reselling. And the idea is simple. You find something underpriced and you sell it for what it's actually worth. So places like Facebook Marketplace, Kijiji, Poshmark, these are platforms that have millions of Canadian buyers looking for deals every day. You can start with something you already own, like unused clothes, old gadgets, toys that haven't been used in like 6 months to a year, electronics, whatever. So take good photos of these items, write a good review, post them today, and by tomorrow, you might have your first sale. Once you've gotten the feel for it, you can then take this up a level by going to weekend garage sales and thrift stores to look for items that are worth more than what the price tag is currently saying. So talking things like vintage furniture, sports gear, and tools. Those are like strong sellers here in Canada. Country jerseys, fan flags, team merch, they're also in demand during this World Cup season and they're in short supply this summer. So international fans will pay good money for their own country gear. If you can source inventory smartly and buy from one fan zone and then resell across different platforms, you can cash in on the World Cup friendly. You can make anywhere from like a few $100s to over $1,000 a month, but it comes down to how well you can spot value and how you can convince people to pay for that value. Now, the challenge I have for you is this. Open Facebook Marketplace right now. Search for 3 things in your neighborhood that look underpriced. Just observe it. Notice the price. And then start training your eyes to spot value because you need that to convert value into cash in your pocket. Here's a quick number for you. Nearly 23% of Canadians, about 7.4 million people, are running a side hustle right now, which means they have side incomes right now. And if you feel like everyone else has already figured life out, if you feel like you're behind, well, you're not. Most people are just figuring it out too, so you're literally right on time. Okay, this might be the most underrated hustle on this entire list, especially right now where every Canadian homeowner is trying to keep their yard nice and clean because, summer, everybody wants their yard to be clean. Lawn care, pressure washing, garden cleanups, window cleaning. These are services people genuinely need and we pay for reliably, not once, but week after week. The predictability of this type of thing is what separates this hustle from others, right? So once you have like 5 regular clients, you know almost exactly what you stand to make every week. And they can refer you to more clients if your quality is really good. So trades, handiwork services, they're in constant demand across Canada. And with the outdoor season running from May to September, you have 4 full months to build something tangible. You have 4 full months to build something real. If you clean a few lawns at $40 to $80 a week, that's like hundreds of dollars before you even talk of scaling up. And you don't need to be a professional to do this. And you just need to have that work ethic and be honest with your work. So start with 2 or 3 of your closest neighbors. Take before and after photos of every job, post it on Facebook Marketplace or TaskRabbit. Word of mouth in your neighborhood also moves fast. Word of mouth is one of the biggest ways small businesses scale up. Now, your challenge is this. Take this weekend, tell your neighbors what services you're offering, name a reasonable price, have a conversation with them about what you plan to do, and then go for it. All right, I've saved this one for last because it's the most Canada-specific opportunity and it's also the most time-sensitive opportunity on this list. And it could be the biggest earner of all of them if you're in the right position to use it. Short-term rentals. I'm talking Airbnb. If you have a spare room, if you have a basement suite, if you have a secure bed, which is safe. The reality is Toronto and Vancouver are the 2 Canadian host cities for the FIFA World Cup, which runs from June 11 to July 17. And with international fans arriving from different countries, accommodation is one of the main areas where World Cup spending flows into. If you have a spare room or if you are willing to crash at a friend's place for a weekend during the games, you can list your space on Airbnb and charge a premium for that. This is something you can do all summer because tourists are also going to visit for other events like music concerts, there are baseball games going on, and just for the sheer sightseeing of going around Toronto, seeing Canada. Even if you don't live in a whole city, just think about what you have. Do you have a car? You have local knowledge? You have language skills? You have a camera? Visitors need transportation. They need guide. They need content. They need food. So the World Cup is a one-of-a-kind event that brings demand like nothing else. So you want to try to tap into that and make some money for yourself this summer. Now, my challenge for you is this. If you have a spare room and you live in Vancouver or Toronto, you can list it on Airbnb this week. Even 1 or 2 match day bookings is meaningful income. If you're not in those cities, well, go back to the hustle number 1 I talked about earlier and think about the delivery demand in your own cities. As fans follow the game, they also like to order things. They also like to place requests for deliveries. So you can be that person to tap into that and make money for yourself. Now, before I let you go, I have to say this because I'll be doing you wrong if I don't. All of this income, all of this side income that you are planning to make, every dollar you earn from a side hustle in Canada has to be reported to the CRA, even if it's just $500. And there's no minimum reporting threshold. The $30,000 number you might have heard floating around, it only applies to sales tax registration. It has nothing to do with whether your income is taxable. But here's the good news. You can deduct real business expenses, things like your phone bill, your gas, your equipment, even a portion of your home internet, which can meaningfully reduce what you actually owe in taxes. You just need to keep receipts. Receipts are very important. So you can have a photos folder on your phone, use that as a good place to start keeping receipts. And since 2024, platforms like Uber, DoorDash, Airbnb, they are required to report your earnings directly to the CRA. So you don't want to underreport your income. Well, for official CRA guidance, I'll put a link in the description. You can go and read the details. And so, what do we have? We have 5 side hustles. We have 1 summer. We have the most unique economic window Canada has seen in a very, very long time. And I'm super excited for it. I'm super excited for the World Cup buzz. Here's how to think about it. If you want to make money this week, start with delivery apps. If you want to build something that grows over time, start with freelancing. If you want to sharpen a skill that feels like a game, start with reselling and value hunting. If you want reliable weekly income from your neighborhood, you can do lawn care since it's within your area. If you are sitting on a spare room in Toronto or Vancouver, well, what are you waiting for? Put it up on Airbnb and get some money on the side. So here's my challenge for you, and I mean this genuinely. Drop a comment below and tell me which side hustle you're going to start and tell me why. Don't type, I'm thinking about it. We don't want those comments. I read every comment and I reply to as many as I can. And if you want a deeper breakdown of any one of these, let me know in the comments as well, and we'll talk about it in greater detail. Hit subscribe if you haven't done so already. Tell someone about my channel. And I have new content coming up every single week, and I'll see you on the next one.